Hey everyone, it's Warriors NRL Fanatics here. Hope you're all doing well. This is going to be my 5 things learned from the pre-season clash against the Melbourne Storm. 5 talking points I take from that clash. Starting off with number 5, Ali Leiataua locks in the centre spot. Although, in my opinion, this was probably never going to be any doubt whatsoever that Leiataua was going to take the spot. I've seen glimpses of his potential last year. Ali was potent in attack, scoring 2 tries, and he is a player that is going to bring plenty of X factor for this side this season. Now, if you look at the players around him, we're going to have Metcalf in the halves. We're going to have, obviously, Chance at fullback. Then our wingers will be DWZ and Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. Of course, DWZ will be missing for the next couple of weeks, so we won't see him there. But at full fitness, DWZ and Roger will be our wingers. And you've got the hooker and Wade Egan as well. So, look, for me, Leiataua is going to have, plenty of opportunities on the field to really show his potential. And look, obviously it's all going to depend on the halves and how they, how well they go, and that helps in terms of, getting Leiataua that ball that he needs, so he can, and providing that space for him so he can show, his true value. But I think for me, regards to what Leiataua can potentially do this season, fully fit, if he stays fully fit, that is, he is going to have a big year. He's going to have a strong one, because this Warriors side, when you look at the pack, we're going to have Fisher Harris and Barnett. That's going to be a big help for him, and I think with your Egans and your likes, and of course, Luke Metcalf, for me, that is going to be a big thing for someone like a Leiataua to show what he can do on the field this season. So, look, for me, there was no doubt about it regards to Ali's position starting the centres, but with his performance in this trial, that guarantees it for me that he's going to be there round 1 for the Raiders game in Vegas. And look, if he can play strongly over the next couple of weeks, then it's going to be hard for him to, not be in the 17, right? It's going to be hard to see anyone, getting a spot in the team altogether. So Leiataua for me locks in that centre spot for the round 1 clash against the Raiders. Number four, Taine can fill the void in any position. He is trustworthy. Now, a lot of questions around Taine's, chances of getting in the 17 this year. We know that when Taine is in the side, he shows his true value. He is, a real good young player. And he has never disappointed or played a bad game when he's been in the Warriors jersey. Now, I don't want to put the mockers on here, but that's what he hasn't done so far. So, look, he hasn't played a lot of first grade since he's been at the club. He's played a lot of New South Wales Cup, and he's been strong in that grade, and you feel like, he's way too good to be playing a New South Wales Cup, to be quite honest, and he should be playing first grade more regularly. But look, in saying that, obviously the thing is with the fullback spot, we know Taine's a really good fullback, but Chance is there as well, and look, Chance has, had a tough year in 2024, right? He had some injuries. His form wasn't quite there on what it was in 2023. So, look, I felt like going into the season that Taine was really challenging Chance Nicola-Kluxard for that starting fullback spot. Now, he's come into these 2 trials and he's played out of position, right? On the wing. It's not the position that he's played in, in his career so far. So, with Dallin coming off in that game against the Sharks, right? He came on and he was very strong. He was really strong. And then, in this particular game, playing on the wing again, and, he backed it up. His performances in the 2 trials, from what I've seen, has for me done enough to get into the 17. And look, I would personally have him on the wing. I know there's a lot of people saying move Chance Nickel-Klukstad to starting centre, put Taine at fullback, and look, as much as I would love for Taine to play fullback, his preferred position, I just can't see Webby changing it up and putting Cenac in centres. Now, it's a good shout. I think Cenac would do all right in the centres, but he hasn't played enough centre in the pre-season to, get in that spot. So, look, for me, round 1, it's going to be, Taine on the wing, and, Chance Nickel-Klukstad would be starting fullback. But of course, once Dallin gets back, how's Taine going to get into the side? That's a big question mark, right? Do you, go with a chance at full chance into the centres? I think it's purely too late for me to think about changing him in that centre spot and put Taine at fullback, because you've got to, if you want to play Taine at fullback, you've got to play him at fullback in that first trial and then play him in the fullback spot in this trial against the Storm. So I think it's purely too late to be swapping him around now. If he's playing wing, he's played wing on 2 games, and I think he should be playing there for me. But you look at Kossi as well. I was pretty critical of Kossi's performance against the Sharks, and he wasn't great there at all. He had a poor performance, to be quite honest. But he was a lot better against the Sharks. So, yeah. But still, in saying that, look, was it enough for me to say Ed Kossi should get that spot over Taine on the wing? I personally don't think it is, despite him being a lot better and played well. But yeah, look, for me, Taine, I know his size is a talking point. He's a short, small guy. Obviously the concerns will be the kicking side of the opposition, who will be kicking bombs consistently on his side, and whether Taine can be able to control that area, which means a bit of a question mark. But look, in saying that, it won't be for every game this year, right? If he does play wing, it won't be more regularly throughout the season, because we know Dallin, when fully fit, is going to be starting in there, no doubt about it. And of course, the one thing is, with our wingers, we like big wingers who can carry the ball down the other field, down the other end of the field very strongly, and that's what Webby's been building his side upon the first couple of years he's been coaching us. So I think that's the only big question mark that Webby's probably going to have. But look, I think from what you see there, Taine, I personally feel he can do the job there. Obviously, I've got full faith in him, and I think he can do it. But yeah, Taine for me, look, I really like, he's got to be in the 17. You just can't leave him out of the 17. He's just done what he needs to do in regards to his performances, and it's up to Webby what he predicts, right? What he picks, him and his coaching staff, and how much faith that they have, whether they want to pick him there or play him at fullback come round 1. But I don't know if he'll be fullback. I just honestly can't see it. Number 3, Aaron Clark does enough to get that 13 jersey for round 1. Now, the big question was, will Aaron Clark start, or will he be on the bench for that clash against the Raiders in Vegas? Now, we signed Aaron Clark from the Titans, and that is to be the starting 13. I don't think we signed him to be playing off the bench, or we definitely didn't sign him to be playing reserve grade. It's that's pretty obvious, right? It's a guarantee that we don't sign a player just to play New South Wales Cup. But look, for me, with Aaron Clark, coming from the Titans, obviously he had some solid performances there when he played for them. Not standout performances, but he did the job very well. Going into this trial game, look, against the Sharks, I thought he was okay, not brilliant, but he definitely stepped it up in this one against the Storm. He played, I think, with his stats, his running meters were quite good as well. And it's probably the question mark is the 13 spot this season, because last year we didn't have a really consistent player in that 13 role in 2024, and we're going to have it this year moving forward. But yeah, I think with Aaron Clark, he's a different 13, right? He's quite a small in stature player. He's like your Jazz Tavanga. It's very similar from the way they play. But I think he can personally do the job there, and I reckon he's got that spot. I think he's done enough for me for round 1. Number 2, attacking shapes a lot more cleaner. Now, I liked what I saw in this game, albeit it is against the Melbourne Storm Seaside, so I'm not going to get carried away. But I do want to point out that this was a positive because the Warriors' attack in the first trial, look, it wasn't horrible, but it didn't quite click into gear. In this trial, we saw, obviously Tamari playing fullback, which was a lot different. We saw, Metcalf in the 7 jersey. We saw Chanel Harris-Savita in the 6, and I think for me the constant threat was also from Wade Egan at dummy half in the hooker's spot there, who really continues to threaten the Melbourne Storm defensive line throughout that game. And then of course with Metcalf, right? Metcalf backed it up from that first trial game against the Sharks, where it was really challenging that defensive line, and I like what Metcalf did because, for me, with that being such an importance going into this year, is the Warriors are going to have to learn to score a lot more points than what they did in 2024. So I think the attacking shape was showing a lot more threats, danger to the defensive side of the side, albeit Melbourne had a lot of players that were quite young, and their defence was just all over the place and saying that. So, yeah, attacking shapes a lot more cleaner. We want to see more of this at the start of the season, right? We want to see how it's like up against a stronger side, full strength team when points are on the line during a season. So, look, I'm not going to get carried away here, but attacking shapes definitely a lot more cleaner. So hopefully we can see this a lot more consistently through the 2025 season. Number 1, another young forward steps up and proves a point. Last week it was Jacob Laban against the Sharks. This week it was Leka Halasima, and Leka Halasima, last year we saw the potential that he showed, and he was just brilliant coming off the bench. Now, I feel like he's going to push Kurt Capewell for a spot in the 17, or he will potentially be on the bench. Now, based on the performance for me, it's really hard to ignore what Leka did. And Kurt Capewell's an experienced player. I know he's been around the joint for a while. He's an experience, right? He's done so much in the game. Now, look, I know some people might find this an unpopular opinion. Some people won't like it. A lot of people are Kurt Capewell fans, which I understand. But based on what I saw, was Kurt Capewell a lot better than Leka Halasima? I don't think he was. I think Kurt Capewell wasn't. I don't think he had a bad game. I don't think he was terrible. But young Leka really pushed his claim for that spot. I really do feel like he did. So, look, for if you're a Webby, you've got that massive coaching headache, which is not a good headache to have. It's a bad headache, right? It's the one you just don't want. Yeah, you want your head to be a lot clearer on who you're going to pick for the round 1 clash against the Raiders. So, look, I think Webby's pretty close to what you'd think would be his 17 for that clash, but players on the weekend really pushed their claims, including young Leka Halasima as a whole. Like, I personally would have him in the 17. I don't think he's going to start ahead of Kurt Capewell, as much as I would love to see it personally, but I think he's got to be on that bench, right? I can't not have him in the side. It's the same with Laban, against the Sharks, right? So, Yeah, Lecker's done enough for me. I think he's proved the point to get into this team in general. But there we have it, everyone. That's my 5 things learned from the pre-season clash against the Melbourne Storm. 5 talking points to take from our final pre-season head-out of the year before that clash against the Raiders in Vegas. Look, I cannot wait for the game in a couple weeks' time in America. I'm really looking forward to it. There's been some good signs in the pre-season. Look, I will be quite frank. I'm not going to get too carried away, too excited. I'm not going to get overworked because I know that trial form means absolutely nothing. And performances in trials are great. It's good leading into the season, but sometimes it just doesn't translate to a regular season game where there's a lot of pressure. There's more on the line. There's just an extra growing, expectation, right? But look, I don't think there is any expectation for me from the Warriors going into the season anyway. Look, I do hope we make the finals in 2025, but I also feel like this year it's going to be a bit of a learning curve. It's going to be a bit of a rebuild, as much as I don't want to say it. But look, it's going to be interesting to see come round 1 how we perform. It's all about going over there and getting the result, and not going there just for a holiday, because that's not what this trip is about. It's about, yes, it's great experience, enjoy it, but go over there and get the 2 points. But guys, let me know what your thoughts are on my 5 talking points and 5 things learnt from the game. And what are your takeaways? What are your takeouts? From the preseason clash against the Storm. If you are a new viewer to this channel, returning viewer, and you haven't done so already, please make sure you don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Click that subscribe button down below. It shows your support for all the content that I do. It's absolutely free as well, and it doesn't cost anything at all. And it helps this channel to grow as a whole. And don't forget, make sure you like the video as well. Don't forget to click the thumbs up button on the video. Liking the videos do show that you enjoy the video, and it's much appreciated. But thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you guys all in the next one. Cheers.